Ben Türk olduğum için daha
Since I'm a Turk, I wanted to present in Turkish. In this way, you will have a rest from headsets. That's why my team will be wearing headsets for a while. Slides are in English, but I will be speaking in Turkish. As you see, I think it was translated as cognitive remediation or cognitive repair. I've been now telling the cognitive remediation treatments, reflections on MRI results. But first, I have to present the first part of the study which we are doing. I don't have any disclosures, so I'm moving this part. This was the first study which we have done. Sorry, I am hearing this and it's really disturbing. This was a proof of concept. Does cognitive remediation work or not? Is this an acceptable work or not? Is this a doable treatment? All these were our research questions. This was a randomized controlled trial. Unfortunately, it wasn't double-blind because it's impossible to do this in therapy work. We took only bipolar euthymic patients between 18 to 65. They were adolescents, they were all adults. As you see what we have done, first, everyone was subjected to a baseline assessment. They had been randomized into groups. One of the groups had received cognitive remediation on the top of their treatment. The other group continued their normal treatment. Between 1st and 12th weeks, they have received cognitive remediation, and in 13th week, we have looked at post-treatment values, and in 25th week, we have looked at long-term results. Today, since all the imaging was in the 13th week, I will be speaking about 13th week. What was the thing which we were doing? At least 20 hours, between 20 to 40 hours, one-to-one and one-on-one and face-to-face cognitive remediations guided by a therapist. I cannot see my slides from here. Sorry. Can I see my slides on the screen? Everything was done by means of a computer, the cognitive remediation treatment. We have received, that was a technical problem, that's why it was the break. Bir de bak. Sorry, again a technical break. Groups were similar in terms of demographic data. Was this a feasible study? We have targeted 60 people and we have taken on board 60 people. Only we have lost 8 of them during follow-up period. So it was a feasible study in our view. Does this therapy fit in something in clinic practice? As you see, around 80%, at least 20 hours cognitive remediation could be taken. And the dropouts, 5 of them couldn't complete because of protocol deviation. Only 2 of them left or dropped out the study by their own will. We asked the same questions to patients. How did you feel? And as you see, 95% told us that I felt better. Something changed and went better. 86% was also happy of the number which we have done. 100% really liked the therapist. I wasn't a therapist. The therapist was really liked. And 76% really thinks that cognitive remediation illuminated them related to their own limits. Shortly, we had a nice response from the patients. This part is important because it's the main hypothesis of our MRI work. So the second part is especially important. In 13th and 25th weeks, as you see from the 16th week, thank you very much for this, because I would have a neck problem in this way. In 13th and 20th week, there were clear differences in cognitive memory and operational functions. We looked at one of them with digit span, the other one was a TAL test. But after 25th week, we had added some new things, but this was the basis of the hypothesis. That's why functional memory and operational functions are especially important. Does it have a contribution to functionality? As you see, in both 13th and 25th weeks, when looked with PES and GIS scale, we found significant differences. Shortly speaking, the study, in line with our hypothesis, was closely related to our hypothesis, and these were the results published in 2020. And now today's topic. The next question was, if you look at neuroimaging of these patients, can we observe the traces of the chains which we have observed from outside? To this end, we collected data from a subsample of the big sample. A total 24 people were divided as 12 and 12. 12 in cognitive remediation lag and 12 control, who are under normal treatment. We received MRI from either group. 13th week is very important for this study because we collected all this data in 13th week. What we have collected, we took structural MRI, we took MRS, magnetic resonance spectrography, and functional MRI, fMRI. 1 during rest and 3 with tasks. One of them was stop signal reaction time, the other 2 were emotional phases. One of them was only related to faces having expression of fear, and the other one was about sad faces. Now I will be presenting these bold ones because it was very newly completed. Actually, even this morning I have completed a few of them. The others are still under process. 2 of my colleagues who aren't here are continuing the emotional phases and resting space part. But the other 3 have been completed as of now. And we are presenting the first results. There wasn't a great change in clinic parameters. We used recircle for structural MRI, we used 7.5, and we followed Enigma protocols, and all quality control had been done according to this. And cortical thickness and surface area, the average for each group had been compared across groups. There were some specific areas to which we wanted to look, these 2 areas. One of them, midfrontal cortex, and one was the inferior frontal complex in this circle. These are fitting in these parts. You look to this was midfrontal cortex, sorry. I will show it. Now we cannot hear her. We couldn't hear because she wasn't using a mic. Still, we cannot hear her. When we look at vitreocephal, there wasn't any correction made here because these were the regions which we have set in the beginning. And we decided these regions according to operational functional areas, which are clearly giving fMRI signals. That's why we decided over meta-analysis. We haven't done any statistical correction, like buffer over any. What we have seen was in group who had received cognitive remediation, in first triangular the cortical thickness of the frontal part who have received cognitive remediation had an increase. And there was a difference between groups. And this difference was coming from here. This increased in cognitive remediation group. Untreated group, there is a decrease in process in the untreated group. And in mid frontal area, and one is in cortical thickness, and in other the phrase surface area. In treatment group it's increasing, but there is a vertical decrease in the other group. This can be seen as significant. The other one is 0.069. These were the structural results. This was our area of interests, and the two molecules were important for us. One was this one was the GABA. We have received the views with press and megapress, and in this domain, LC model and gamete was used. As you see in glutamate, there is an increase in glutamate in cognitive remediation treatments. There isn't a lot of change in the control group. It's mostly because of the vertical increase, but in glutamate we have seen an increase in this area, which was statistically significant. Finally, when we have done fMRI stop signal reaction tags, I will not be going into details. We haven't found anything. I think James is here. That means that we are closing to the end. We are approaching to the end. For fMRI, they have done this task. If they saw a general point, they didn't need to press. If they don't see anything, they had to press again. So they had made 230 odds different combinations. The contrasts which we have compared was as follows. These areas were our region of interest, and this was taken from a meta-analysis as used by Dr. Mehta. We have used all this. We tried to look whether or not there were activation changes. In behavioral tasks, there wasn't any difference in reaction times, stop signals, etc. They didn't have any group differences. And in fMRI activation, we haven't seen any differences in this contrast with these tasks. These are my findings. Thanks very much. I'm here, but there are many people who have done this. I just forgot to put David Lewis' photo. Let me add a credit for him too. Thanks him.